We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Bob Arum confirms there will be no Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury next because Pulev ain't stepping aside. What's this?
Hey, good morning. This is Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, the lineal WBC Ring Magazine heavyweight champion of the world. And that's my old missus there.
Screw you.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We moved up about 4 doors down from where we started. So yeah, living the dream. Whoopie-doo.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing if you want to become part of the gang. Notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Now head over to Patreon, sign up. I got some stuff we'll be shifting over there for the Patreon family and the YouTube channel members. Getting everything lined up. So should be a good time, more content. And it's a way to join La Familia, the extended Eagles Army family. Now, Bob Arum, I'll get to that first and then I'll give my thoughts. Talk Sport, link in the description, says contracted. Boxing news, Bob Arum confirms Kubrat Pulev will not step aside for Joshua and Tyson Fury to fight. Says fans, the UK, this is a UK print. They got to stop with this Fury Joshua nonsense. And, and it's like real persuasive writing. Fans will not get their wish to see Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury fight next as Kubrat Pulev. Literally, I think the UK is the only one that's like dying to see this fight. Will not step aside, according to Arum. The pandemic has wreaked havoc on the boxing calendar with all the fights in the near future postponed. This led to calls for heavyweight titans Joshua and Fury to face each other next. The problem being both under contract to face someone else. Joshua has had his mandatory challenger Pulev waiting in the wings, while Fury is set to fight Deontay Wilder in their trilogy. Fury's co-promoter Arum said he had spoken to Eddie Hearn, AJ's promoter, and gave an update on the situation. Arum told Bad Left Hook, "No step aside for Pulev. I talked to Eddie Hearn on Saturday morning about Joshua versus Pulev." Quote, you guys see this? It looks like it can't be in the UK because there couldn't be any spectators. There looks like there are a couple of other possibilities. It's probably not going to take place until late this year, and definitely not in the UK. Also, for Fury versus Wilder, that's looking like the 4th quarter of the year. So he's saying the original fights that were on the table, Joshua versus Pulev and Wilder versus Fury, but they might have to make different accommodations. Meanwhile, Hearn confirmed in a recent interview that he does not want Joshua to fight behind closed doors and is willing to take the bout outside of the UK. Joshua versus Pulev was originally scheduled to take place at Tottenham in June. Hearn told Boxing Social, "Do I really want AJ to box behind closed doors? No. With what he has produced in terms of that live audience, I will be doing everything I can to make sure AJ doesn't box behind closed doors." Right? So there you have it. I say it so many times on the channel, and I hope you guys feel it. New media, we control the narrative. I told you, people getting all like, why does the UK seem like they want to keep doing this to themselves? Listen to Eddie Hearn and his tall tales about this and that and clout chasing, and we're seeing it a lot on the DAZN platform. I just gotta keep it a buck and get people hyped for nothing. Talk about Charlo and Andrade, and here's an email, we sent him an offer, trying to get people hyped up on Joshua versus Fury, Dillian White versus Wilder, Dillian White versus Andy Ruiz, all for what? And then it doesn't happen. Listen, Bob Arum just told you. See, at first, Eddie Hearn was saying he had some great talks with Bob Arum, and then Bob Arum and Frank Warren both came out and said, we talked about things, but it wasn't no real negotiations like that. So that made Eddie Hearn look crazy because he was sitting up here making it look like they had advanced talks, and, fans are getting hyped up listening to these Eddie Hearn interviews, and then it really is leading to a dead end. Now, this Tyson Fury Joshua fight looks like it's still not going to happen this year, which is what we already knew. This is what I've been saying from the beginning. Dang, I mean, don't y'all get tired of having me be right on my channel? New media, we control the narrative. Like, I feel like this is crazy what's happening to old media. It's like they're losing it. Tyson Fury and Wilder, it's a contract. Like, literally, like, I could pull up the clip. They're all the signs pointed to what I was saying, which is why I said what I said. Wilder called for the rematch. Look, this is the video. This is the video. Wilder saying, "Good morning, my bomb squad people."
Hello, my people. My bomb squad army. My bomb squad nation. To all my loved ones around the world. Just want to let you know that I am here. Your king is here. And we ain't going nowhere. For the war has just begun. I will rise again. I am strong. I am a king. You can't take my pride. I am a warrior. I'm a king that will never give up. I'm a king that will fight to the death. And if anyone don't understand that, don't understand what it is to go to war, don't understand what it is to fight, we will rise again. We will regain the title. I will be back. We will hold our heads up high. Your king is in great spirit. And we will rise like a phoenix from the ashes and regain the title. I'll see you in a few months. For the war has just begun. All my love to all my people.
Boom. We got action. I mean, that was clear as day. Wilder said what he felt. He says, "I'll see you in a couple of months." Obviously that was right before the pandemic really kicked off and the stay-at-home orders. But why would it change? You see what I'm saying? You letting Eddie Hearn and Joshua and UK fans excite you for nothing. Wilder has a contract with the man that you see on the screen, the WBC champion, Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King. A message to the weightlifter, right? Why play dumb? Why play this Eddie Hearn charade, rematch room charade with all these fights? Oh yeah, it'd be great. Devin Haney and Loma, saying all these fights and none of them are happening. None. Wilder has a contract and Joshua was contracted and announced to fight Kubrat Pulev. So I told you from the jump, it was a bridge too far. That's too much of a hurdle for you to have to conquer in order to move these guys out of the way to make the fight. You have to, first of all, convince Deontay Wilder that all the stuff he just said in the video, you would have to convince him that he needs to sit down. Listen, I'm not here to talk about the fan. Like, the fans are going to say whatever they want. Fans are going to say he shouldn't take the fight, but people did that to Joshua and he defied him and he got his belts back from Andy Ruiz. So you can't stop what's in the fighter's heart like that. Then you look on the screen. You got Kubrat Pulev. The man is 40 years old. His birthday, May 4th. So he's practically 40. Practically 40 years old. and he already was scheduled to fight Joshua, and he pulled out with an injury. Now Joshua definitely looks beatable and was beaten by Andy Ruiz, so he's looking like he's ready. And how many opportunities like this are you going to get? He already fought against Klitschko, and he came up short, got stopped in that fight. He pulled out of the Joshua title fight a couple years ago. Joshua went on to fight Takum, right? The Klitschko fight was in 2014, and he's pushing 40. So at the end of the day, his rope is running out, you know, for his style and being in the heavyweight division. You know, he's not like George Foreman. He's going to come and fight at an advanced age. So he's probably, you know, looking for one last little run, see if he can get this belt off of Joshua or belts, etc. So this game was for nothing. Bob Arum is telling you, right? And aside from the two men who you would have to convince to pull them aside and pay them, that's already a waste of money. You're paying people in order to make Fury versus Joshua, you would be paying people to stay put and sit down. So you're already, whatever your site fee is or your lot of money, your bulk of money, you're already wasting it on people to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So that's one issue in itself. But the other issue, aside from convincing this man that he can't do this in a third fight when he believes he had an off night and was a zombie, right? Aside from that, we dealt with and are still dealing with a global pandemic, which has further complicated things. We just seen UFC 249. Check my videos on that. And shout out to everybody that used my link for ESPN Plus. Listen, shameless plug. ESPN Plus, sign up. There's a lot of great content on the ESPN Plus platform and docuseries, documentaries. It looks like they're going to get some live sports back, you know, at least the ESPN Plus pay-per-views. Or you can bundle ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all three apps, one price, $12.99. Use my link in the description if you'd like to support and help the channel and also get a lot of great content and a ton of updated content. Now, aside from convincing Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder and Tyson Fury, or to not fight Tyson Fury, and Kubrat Pulev to not fight Joshua, and getting them to stay put and take money, we're dealing with a global pandemic, which, again, like I said, has further complicated the matter, where you can't even necessarily have large gatherings or crowds. That's why this article was saying it probably won't happen in the UK, because we don't know when this ban will be lifted in places like that. So they might have to put it in Croatia or somewhere, you know, Bulgaria, where Kubrat Pulev is from, where maybe it's more sparse, the amount of people who have been affected by the Rona. You see what I'm saying? They have to put it in more of an obscure place than probably America, because I don't know how they would get. There's two UK fighters. In the market, you have that two British fighters, Tyson Fury and Joshua, don't really make as much sense in America. You see what I'm saying? So it's just too many complications. Now you have Bob Arum, and he's confirming what I've told you. Checkmate. Contracted. Boxing news. Bob Arum confirms Kubrat Pulev will not step aside for Joshua and Tyson Fury to fight next. And it's funny because you had all the old media, the man fans, who seem to hate black fighters and Al Heyman and Wilder, and it's just the usual suspects. But the funny thing is this: they blame Wilder. Oh, Wilder should really step aside. You know, he needs to step aside. Nobody wants to see Wilder Fury 3. But now you have Bob Arum, right, who's confirming that Bulgarian fighter Kubrat Pulev ain't willing to step aside either. So he's also part of the equation. Joshua's slated to fight him, and he got to fight him. That's just what it is. That's the mandatory. So you can no longer solely blame it on Wilder for this fight not happening. Beyond all of this, as I've said from the beginning, when Eddie Hearn was playing this game, trying to make it look like the Joshua Fury fight could actually happen next, you got to look at it. You got to look at this. The situation is this. I knew this wasn't going to happen. You know, I don't even know why people are attempting to even believe the little games from Eddie Hearn about Joshua Fury. You have two men with contracts, one being a mandatory, one wanting his belt back and feeling he could do a lot better in a rematch being Wilder. And then you have a pandemic we're dealing with. And, it's just too many obstacles to make a fight like that right now, given the current spectrum and situation. Beyond that, I don't even think, I keep saying this, Joshua Fury stylistically is not a better fight. I think both guys are going to be trying to think, because Joshua has this newfound semi-box run style or whatever, and he's leaning down. So I don't see him trying to walk down Tyson Fury. I don't even know if his confidence is there, because it definitely didn't look like he was super confident in the Andy Ruiz rematch even. It looked like he has some PTSD from the first Ruiz fight, so he wasn't fully looking like the Joshua that was knocking everybody out, Dominic Breazeale and Eric Molina, and knocked out Klitschko. He didn't look like he had that same snap and spark in his style. He looked like he was like fully switched on and had to concentrate and refused to fight in the trenches. We've, on the contrary, seen Tyson Fury fight a bunch of different ways. We've seen him fight, box, and be defensive and stink up the place, versus Klitschko, but still win. We've seen him walk down Wilder. We've seen how he fought Wilder in the first fight. He just shows more variety. Everybody, Andy Lee, Prince Nassim, Andre Ward, they all said they don't see Joshua winning. Ego, everybody said they don't see Joshua winning, but yet and still, you had this big campaign and clout chase from Eddie Hearn to convince people that this fight can happen, and it just keeps getting shut down. The other issue is this: Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz being the Al Heyman advised PBC fighter. Joshua didn't do what's right for boxing and back down and let PBC get all the belts and make a Deontay Wilder, because he was the champion at the time. Last June when Ruiz won, Wilder was still a champion. So why didn't Joshua move out of the way and let PBC try to fight for all the belts and make an undisputed champion, and then try to target the winner? This is what old media is telling Wilder to do. But now they have another issue, Exhibit A. Kubrat Pulev ain't backing down from the fight either, right? But it's funny to hear old media and their horrible, hot takes on boxing. It just sounds stupid. They want Wilder to do what Joshua wasn't willing to do. Joshua was not willing to just lose his belt, not enforce his rematch clause, to allow another side to make a fight that has nothing to do with him for undisputed. He didn't want, because he knew if he did not fight Ruiz, and Eddie Hearn knew this, if he did not immediately rematch Ruiz and his rematch clause had elapsed and, Ruiz had the option, PBC would have definitely made Wilder versus Ruiz. I'm confident in that, because you had a black fighter and a Mexican fighter, heavyweight fight. You could put that anywhere in America and it will sell, right? West Coast, East Coast, Texas, it don't matter. That would sell. But Joshua didn't move out the way. So why would these maniacal British fans or whatever that believe that all this stuff that Eddie Hearn's saying and all that, why didn't they pressure Joshua to back down? And nobody wants to see the Andy Ruiz rematch. They wanted him to have a chance at get back. But since these same so-called boxing fans hate Wilder and everything associated with him and Al Heyman and all that, they're telling Wilder, hey, step aside, playing this Eddie Hearn game, saying step aside so we could see Fury versus Joshua. And me, from the beginning, I told you, it's not going to happen. And I think the pandemic further solidified that, because we already had a resistant Wilder. You knew he wasn't going to back down for an amount of money. Then you had Kubrat Pulev, but then now the pandemic just made it even tougher, because you have Wilder, who lives in down south in Alabama or wherever, right? And you have, him wanting the rematch. And then you got two guys that are in the UK, and then they have to figure out where to fight. And, could you do a large crowd? all that Saudi Arabia talk for this fight next, I told you it's going to have to wait. Now, what could happen if Tyson Fury wins and beats Wilder in the third fight, you know, so if he beats him again in the third, then if Joshua wins, he can possibly, you know, they could do undisputed. And I think that's the best thing for boxing. You can't have a champion. Wilder resurrected Tyson Fury. Nobody was talking about Tyson Fury when he was on his coke bench. You know, credit to Tyson Fury for getting his life together or whatever and losing the weight, but nobody was really worried about him. Wilder was knocking everybody out and he was popping. Wilder being a champion and willing to fight, he pressed Joshua's line. Joshua didn't want no smoke, so he made a deal with Tyson Fury and had a tough fight with him in the first fight. Controversial, draw, could have went either way, you know, and he did what you're supposed to do. He rematched his toughest fights, showed he wasn't afraid, and, you know, Tyson Fury had his number on that given night. But again, it makes no sense for the UK and British fans to request of Wilder for him to do something that Joshua wasn't willing to do. Joshua probably felt bad when he lost to Andy Ruiz. He wanted revenge. He was, you know, hurt. So he wanted some get back. He's a fighter. He's a true fighter. So why would Wilder be that opportunity be stripped away from him because you want to see another fight? I told you this wasn't going to happen. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.